Hi everyone. We had a really good chat with our next guest, so we've had to split it over multiple episodes. Hope you like it.
Welcome to Amigos Down Under. This is Douglas. As always, I'm joined here with Seb.
Hey, Dougie. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, not too bad, man.
Yeah.
And again, unfortunately,
We lost him.
yeah, we've lost Adrian again. He's gone AWOL.
Yeah.
Missing in action.
We can't keep using the Mighty Panthers winning
No, he's
the
not
premiership as
celebrating
an
anymore.
excuse. No, this is just Adrian's
knows?
life.
Yeah, Adrian's life. Nah, but yeah, Adrian can't be with us today, but we've got Crystal here back again. Welcome back, Crystal.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, you got your own intro. Look at that.
Take that, Adrian.
Yeah. Who? Welcome. Thank you for stepping in.
Oh, no problem. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know where to find us. Amigos Down Under podcast. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and I believe YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah, we're coming up to our 1 year anniversary. So, you know, we're getting there professionalism-wise.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Getting there.
Eventually.
Eventually we'll get there.
Yeah, it might take a couple of years, but
Still
we'll get there.
amateurish.
Yeah, that'll do.
Maybe,
we'll have some fun.
maybe from amateur to novice.
Yeah,
I think we've gone up to, but yeah, we'll see how we go.
step up. But that's well, when I like game and stuff or anything I do, I try and keep it at the novice level because then you know you're going all right. So if we get to
That's
novice
true.
level, let's just stay there.
We're just going to be the king of novice.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
All right, so for today's episode, we've got a special guest.
Very special.
Yeah, people might know him from MasterChef this year, 2023. One of the top 10 finalists
That's it.
of this year.
That's it.
Antonio. Welcome to the show, Antonio.
Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for having me.
Oh, the crowd goes nuts.
Hey.
Settle down.
I like this crowd.
Thanks for coming, man. We really appreciate you coming out here.
No, thank you so much for the invite, guys. Super excited.
All right. With that said, let's do a cheers to get us started.
Yeah.
So hold on a second.
Salud. Hang on. Let's tradition.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I'm on
That's
the
a good
lines.
sound. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, my friend. Cheers, and thank you for bringing. We'll talk about it a bit more later, but thank you for bringing this beautiful bottle here. It looks amazing already. I can't wait.
You're in for a treat. That's good stuff.
Yeah, man. What are you having today? What have you got there? What have we got for you there?
I am having a 150 lashes.
Oh, nice. What about yourself, KS, Crystal?
I'm on the red wine tonight.
Beautiful. Dougie?
Cotton dry.
Oh, cheers. Twins.
Cheers.
And twinning.
Twinning,
There you go.
that's it. So how's everyone been going? What have you been up to, KS? What have you been up to?
Oh, look, it's budget time with work. So, you know, crunching numbers, using Excel, story of my life.
Fun.
And thanks to wonderful Doug, I'm about to set up my own space of the podcast world, inspired by the Amigos Down Under.
Ah, yes.
Inspiring the world. Which is
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
absolutely.
I heard, and I cannot wait.
Yes.
It's going to be amazing. So make sure you tune in, listen out, keep your eye out. Can we reveal the name yet or not yet?
I don't know. Let's see if my producer's happy for me to do that. just now.
Dougie, can we reveal the name or
We can.
you're still holding off on that?
We can.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the name?
So we're hoping to launch in March, record all through summer, but it's called Cocktails with KS.
Oh, I love it.
And it's, pretty much that's what we've been spending a lot of our time on, the spare time between work.
Oh, yeah.
And
Work,
recording
family.
with you guys. Yeah, all the other stuff. But yeah, that's about it.
You should spell it cocktails with K, so
Yep.
wrap it with the S.
I did that.
Cocktail.
Yeah.
See,
because I was
yeah,
like,
great mind
okay.
thinking.
Great minds.
I
Look
like
at
it.
that.
Now I know it resonates with an
All right.
audience.
Hey, guess what? Guest on
Oh,
cocktails.
yes.
Hey,
I can do a cocktail maybe with some food, so I don't know. We'll
I would
see.
love that.
From what I've heard, you can cook just a little bit, yeah? Just
a bit.
Yeah, just a
bit.
smidgen.
Just a
yeah.
smidge.
I mean,
Just a
yeah,
bit.
Just a
Un
bit.
poquito. A little bit. Yeah.
It'll actually work well because I cannot cook, so maybe they can do something about teaching me how
Bring
to
dinner
cook.
then.
Yeah. That's it.
What about yourself, Dougie? Besides work, study, family, podcast, and now producing another podcast. So he's the bloke he's a machine.
You got to add in the extra studies. What
Yeah,
else
that's
are
what I
you
mean. The
doing?
study, all that
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else have you been up to, man?
I think helping friends move lately.
What the hell?
It's just been the month half of moving. 'Cause,
Yeah, then. And
everyone's moving.
what are we doing tomorrow?
Helping someone move.
Moving house.
Cancel the gym membership. He's been lifting them
Oh,
up.
man.
Dude, so Antonio, the only time I've had to move, like proper move, was from our old house, not far from here, to this one, about 6 to 8 weeks ago.
Probably, yeah.
And if someone had said, "Hey, I'll give you the option of moving or I'll kick you in the crutch," I'll go, "Give me 2 kicks in the crutch." Yeah. And we've been helping friends move for the past month to 6 weeks every weekend.
Yeah.
You only realize how much shit you have the moment you have to move.
Definitely,
Right?
bro.
You don't know how much stuff you have,
Yeah.
and then the day you're moving, you're like, "What? What's
Yeah.
this? Like,
Yeah.
where
Where'd
did
that
this
come from?
come from?"
Yeah.
It's
How long has that been there?
Yeah. It's 2 things. Where did this come from? / how long's that been there?
Yeah.
And fuck, here it is.
Oh man!
Oh, there it is. I've been looking for this.
I knew it was somewhere.
Here 4 years, and I'm like,
I knew I kept this in the bin it goes.
Well,
yeah.
I don't miss it. So.
Yeah. But anything else, Dougie? Anything else you've been up to?
Man, to be honest, I can't think of anything. I think I'm being Adrian today, which is nothing. I think this week has been pretty cruisy.
Oh,
It's
that's
been pretty
good.
simple. Just what you just said.
Yeah.
Actually, I've got no studies, so I'm kind of on break, but I start again next week. But,
Oh, no.
but it's been good.
Good
one
to hear,
one
man.
less thing.
Because I know you're always doing something.
Yeah, always sleepless nights.
Yeah,
But
man.
anyway.
Big time.
How about you, Seb?
Well, as usual, work, family. Nothing really interesting. I did go to Appen Bakery today. So,
Oh, what Johnny's recommendation?
yes, Johnny. And also, I found a page. I'm starting to become a bit of a, I don't know, foodie, whatever you call them these days. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And
well, you have a podcast. You could be a food influencer now.
right,
So.
yeah. Well, that's the one, food influencer. I don't think I have the, you know.
But it's a niche market.
Yes.
It's all pies.
Yeah. Well, no, hang on. Well, that's.
Oh, have you extended
I've extended to the banh mi, the Vietnamese rolls. So
okay.
I'm a massive fan of them. And thanks to Johnny a couple of weeks ago, who told us about one near where I work, and I went and tried it. And I called my wife Lydia and I said, I did the Doug step back. So, yeah. So Doug and I are big fans of Scotch.
Okay.
Antonio. And we've got this 21 year that I got given for my birthday last year.
Okay.
NRL Rugby League, do you know the sport?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
So big Panthers fan. They won last year. And Doug happened to come away with us for a couple of days while we were away for a week. And we watched the Panthers grand final. And we opened up this 21-year Glenfiddich bottle of Scotch.
good whiskey. Yeah.
And Doug, he has it just Scotch, nothing else. And he literally took a sip like he is now with that Scotch. And he put it down, stepped back, and had to hold on to some chairs. And he's like, "Oh my God." And anyone who knows Doug, he's not very expressive. He doesn't give a lot of emotion, doesn't give a lot of weight.
Yeah.
I've never seen Doug give so much expression away. So I literally did that after I took my first bite of this Vietnamese roll.
Oh, really?
And from there, I was inspired to find the best one.
Ooh,
Ah,
okay.
there
Yeah,
you
because
go.
I travel around a lot. So I found, that was at
Emerald Hills, you
Emerald Hill Shopping Centre. It's called
Okay.
108 North, 10 East, or the other way around, 10 East, 108 North, whatever. And it was amazing.
Okay.
I've
Do
had...
you get like traditional pork, pate?
so, yeah,
and-
so
okay.
they have, on the weekends, they do the crispy pork,
Okay.
nam nyong, which is like a marinated mixture of, I don't know what, but it was meat. I had the marinated beef. That was my favorite so far.
Okay.
And I'm going to try the grilled chicken one this week. They have a soy-based one, but I'm not going to touch that. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Why bother?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then yesterday, I'm driving through Campbelltown on Queen Street there. Pull up.
yes.
I literally see a, what are they called? A charcoal chicken place. I'm like, oh, I've got to get some lunch, but I've got about half an hour to kill. So I'll grab some lunch. And I see a lady walk over and she's holding what looks to be a pork roll. And she looks Vietnamese, right?
Okay.
So I don't mean to stereotype, but anyway. So I
She's
go,
eating it,
excuse
it's
me,
good.
I'm so
You're
sorry.
generalising it.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, but is that a pork roll? She goes, yeah. And where'd you get that from? And she just points right next to the charcoal chicken place. She goes, they just opened. I go, they're good. She goes, they are amazing. And with her accent, I could tell she was Vietnamese.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to tell us that?
No, I won't give a demonstration unless we want to get cancelled. Go up, have it. Satay chicken. Like as in satay
Satay
chicken
chicken.
banh mi. I've never had one.
Wow, that's
And
different. Yeah, I've
interesting.
never heard of that.
It was extra coriander. I love coriander. So I got extra coriander. fucking amazing. Sorry to swear. And they packed it in. They had 20% off as well. So I got that with a can of drink for $9. So
Pretty good lunch.
Yeah, man.
That's
It was
pretty
that
good lunch
it was that
with
good. I
$9.
took a photo of it. Right.
Yeah.
And I've just joined a page. It's called Bar Me Vietnamese Roll Appreciation Society on Facebook.
Okay.
And I actually put a post up and I've got like 80 or 90 likes and comments and all this stuff.
Is this where the whole thing of
So
claiming
this is
to
where I'm
be?
like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to become a foodie. This was Thursday. So today I went to App and Bakery.
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed in how good they were. They were
Okay.
good, but I think it was one of those ones, people talk it up. Oh, this is really good. This is really good. Then you try
They
it,
set
you're
the
like,
bar too high and the expectations too. Yeah.
Especially when you've got
put
one that
perfectly.
you already like and
Yes.
you're comparing the two.
Yes.
Yeah, right?
100%.
It's it's dangerous like recommending places because if you taste is such individual. So
Yeah.
I might like something and
Yeah.
I don't know, pizza. Like I love pizza and
Yeah.
like you need to go to this pizza place and I don't really like recommending.
Yeah.
Or you bring people and you're like super excited and they're like and I don't know, they had a shitty day in the
Yes.
kitchen and you're like,
Yeah.
oh what the fuck? Like this never happens. Like
Yeah.
And it all falls on you.
And it's always, and everyone looks at you and you're
Yeah,
like,
it's like,
I'm so
oh,
sorry.
you.
You feel like you're the one that cooked it, yeah? And you're like, I'm so sorry. It's like, oh, it's all right. This fucking guy.
It's the
like we're
same
never
thing when you go
taking-
like a particular dish, like philo food, and everybody cooks it so different.
Yeah.
And you go, yep, that dish is great. And it's like, oh, I tried it. And it's like, but who cooked it?
Yeah.
And then it's a big letdown. It just becomes like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just feel, and I find myself looking at everyone else's reaction.
Yeah.
But then you're like, is it real? Because like, is that a real reaction? Like if
Or
they
they're just
go,
like,
they go,
faking it. Yeah.
Or they're faking it just to appease you.
It's like when you recommend anything. Like when you recommend a movie. Oh, guys, you got to watch this movie. It's really, really good. And you're sitting there watching them just to see their reactions the whole time.
because I
Yeah.
love movies, and then
Yeah.
I'd be like, I know where the good parts
Yeah.
are coming, and then I start,
Yeah.
staring
Yeah.
at people and
like,
like,
how come they didn't
just
laugh?
like, let them have their own experience, and
Yeah.
100%.
But referring like someone to watch a movie or show that you would like, I feel like is quite intimate because then they're going to read your personality of what you might find is funny or
True.
dark. So
100%.
I always stay away from referring to like movies or things.
Yeah.
It's like, don't read me.
Yeah.
Like, what I enjoy may not be what everyone
I
else
really like
enjoys.
that scene where those people were murdered. What the fuck?
well, if you check any women's Netflix
Yeah.
playlist, it's gonna be like murder,
Yes,
cooking
it
show,
is.
murder.
That's my wife.
Like
Yeah, that's
That's
Lydia.
different.
That's she.
not mine.
Documentary.
I'm not going to say what's on mine.
Documentaries about murder.
Yeah.
Documentaries about murder. Lydia
Yeah.
loves that stuff.
And then
Yeah.
they break it with like a Disney movie, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, what's this?
What the fuck is happening? Yeah, well, Lydia's at the moment. Her obsession is the Milli Vanilli
Doco?
The doco,
documentary on Milli Vanilli,
Okay.
that band that was two guys that were faking the whole.
Yeah.
They lip synced the whole time,
Yeah,
and she's
and
been
now-
obsessed with
Oh,
that.
But now
yeah.
people are getting famous for doing that on TikTok.
Yeah.
Literally,
Oh, yeah, that is
Yeah.
true.
I think
like
it's a-
how culture's changed.
it's the
because,
perfect time to release that, Because it's like, oh, I'm doing what you guys do, but back then it was like, oh, don't do that.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. Antonio, you've been on MasterChef.
Yep,
And
as we know.
we'll dabble on that later, but
Yeah.
this is all about you and your history.
Okay.
Let's see your story. First of all, we ask, were you born in Australia or were you born overseas?
Overseas, back in Venezuela,
Venezuela. Wow.
Nice.
the northern beat of South America,
Oh, okay. There you go. Whereabouts in Venezuela?
in Caracas, in the capital city.
Capital.
Yeah.
Capital city.
Caracas.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Beautiful. How long since you've been back? Sorry, how long were you there for? Like how long till you left Venezuela?
So I lived in Venezuela till I was 27 years.
Yep.
So
Okay.
I moved to Australia 2015, and I've gone back a couple times because
Okay.
COVID and the whole thing. So got that. But the idea was to go back every couple years or so because I still have all my family or partially my family is there. So I have 3 sisters. I have 2 there. Dad's there, and the rest of my immediate family.
Yeah.
What brought you here in 2015? What was appealing about Australia?
Well, situation in the country was not ideal for anyone. I think between 2010 and 2015, the political situation wasn't the best one. And young people, you couldn't really afford to, get a house or get a car or anything really.
Yeah.
And I moved to Australia, and now I can't afford a house. Anyway,
That's cool.
no, but I always had the idea that I really wanted to study in a country, in an English speaking country. I knew I studied English for the good part of 20, 25 years. Like since I was a baby, you're kind of taught English, but it's always very basic. And I always wanted to get into, I wanted to live in an English speaking country and get the culture, really pin down the, the language. And originally I was going to go to Ireland. I got accepted into what would be the UTS in Dublin.
Okay, yeah.
Right, yeah.
I was going to do a master's degree, but then relationships between the country kind of fell down the drain. So I had a cousin that was living here in Australia, in Sydney, and he was like, look, you have everything sorted, all your paperwork, you have your English, test and everything. So why didn't you come? And like, it was, probably a thing of like 2-3 months really. So I got accepted into like a diploma, came as a student, stay for like a year, and then got my PR because so I'm a software developer. So my my role and my expertise were kind of needed in the country. So you kind of had like a very
like a skills in demand.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
wow. Okay,
it was not easy because I already had the language, and I did have to take a few tests and gather all the paperwork. But at that time, because I had everything sorted, it kind of came down, just to wait for probably like a year, and I was a PR. So, and then the PR 4 years later, citizenship. So
nice.
Dual citizenship now. So
beautiful.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Makes it easier
living
too when
the
you want to
dream.
go back, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you just when you're coming back to the country and you get to the other queue, you're like,
I feel better.
Fuck you, I'm Australian.
Australia, mate.
You were saying like
Where's my
you wanted to go to an English speaking country, but I'm like, we slaughter the English language here in Australia. Like absolutely slaughter it.
Yeah.
Well, the day I crossed immigration, I was like, "Oh my god, this is not gonna go well."
Yeah.
Because of course you're shitting your pants. You're coming to a country you don't even know anyone here, so you're getting here, and then you get the immigration officer starting asking you a question, and I couldn't understand shit. I was like, "Oh my god!" And to be fair, I don't think my English has gotten any better since I came here. Like I've just like I've always spoken like this, like maybe vocabulary, like
Yeah.
Let's be fair. It's probably gotten worse because of Australia.
Maybe.
You speak more Australian.
It's funny because I have cousins in the US, and they tell me that I sound super weird because we learned American English, so
Right,
I kind of sound a bit American, but also you like I speak Spanish, so
Yeah.
you kind of have that also built into what you speak. But then the words that I've learned in Australia, they sound Australian.
Yeah.
So when I'm talking, like, I don't know, we're in a restaurant and I can see my little cousin. She's like watching me and she's like, "You're weird. Like, you like, it's just like, I can't really get,
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know.
That's funny.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
No, that's dead set Australian. Like even that dead set.
Yeah.
Like that. I'm assuming you understand dead set.
Yeah.
Like, it's like saying, 100%. No, that's 100%. With true
Yeah.
dead set. You don't say 100% here unless
Yeah, that's- yeah.
like it's dead set.
Yeah, it's just
dead set,
different words we say for different things, right? So
Yeah.
people.
I still
other
get
people-
confused, and I'm born here. Like, I still don't know.
That makes me feel a lot better.
Well, your English is probably better than mine, and I was born and bred here, and I still struggle.
Wait, you weren't? I thought you were. Why did you go to ESL if you weren't born?
Exactly. That's the point.
Do you know what ESL is? Yeah.
No.
So ESL was something they used to do back when political correctness wasn't such a thing. It was called
Okay.
English as a Second Language, or ESL.
Okay.
So from year 1 right through to pretty much year 6 in primary school, I had to do ESL. But I was
Okay.
born and bred here. But
I am so confused as to why.
My parents I learnt Spanish first.
Okay.
So I spoke Spanish right up until the age of 3 or 4.
Okay.
Went to daycare for not even a year, and then went to primary school. As you know, we flip it when we speak Spanish. It's
Yeah.
flipped. Like I'll say to you, like I've told this story before, but something simple as, all right, let's say we finish tonight, and my mum's here, right, and she'll go, "Se recoge la mesa," which in Chileans would be just clear the table.
Yep.
So, but then my parents, whenever I had friends over that were English, she would always speak in English. So they would do the literal translation. So said, pick up the table. So anyway, I'd have a friend, Tim. I still remember Tim.
It's like big.
Yeah, I go to him. He goes, let's go play, and I'm like I think we're gonna go play PlayStation or whatever. And he goes, I go, hang on, I got to pick up the table first. And he goes, oh, okay. Do you want help? I'm like, oh yeah, sweet. So he walks over and he grabs the end of the table, and I start clearing stuff off. So he helps me clear stuff off, right? We put it away, whatever. And he comes back, and I'm like, all right, let's go. He goes, don't we have to pick up the table? Yeah. I'm like, no, we just did it. And he's like, what the fuck? And I'm like, what
do you mean?
Yeah, but say, like vacuum, pasar la aspiradora.
Yep.
Pass the vacuum is a literal translation.
Yep.
Same guy, Tim. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I've got to pass the vacuum. He's like, who are you passing it to? Yeah. I'm like, and he goes, do you mean vacuum? I'm like, yeah. I was like 15. But it was the literal translation. That's what I think it is.
But isn't that even with Chileans, you have your own version of Spanish as well?
Yes.
Yeah, that's mind-blowing.
I'm not going to add on that.
Come on, man. I've copped all the hate. It's all good.
Yeah, Chileans are
unique.
Unique. They have a unique Spanish.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're just making shit up. Like, let's
They
be
do.
honest.
Literally.
Well, each region kind of has, their own thing, but I think Chileans, they took it to a whole new level.
That's why I think I love Australia so much, because let's face it, the Australian English
That's
is
not
that
the same thing.
everybody else goes, thank you.
$100%.
Yeah.
All of Australia, we speak differently and pronounce things differently because I think in
The
South
South
Australia,
Australians, when they say dance,
yeah, they
Yes.
prominent the A in different things. So it's weird how everyone throughout Australia just talks differently.
I don't know which state it is, but some states, you say off. So get off the table or get off that chair. They'll go off. Off.
Okay.
They go off. They go off.
bit of a Scottish feel to it, maybe.
I have no idea, but it's weird.
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, it's very different here as well. Not as much as the Chileans. That's a different level.
that's a
of
whole-
different Spanish.
A whole level of butchering.
Yeah. And, and when you're here in Australia, like if you're talking to someone, from Sydney, from Melbourne, that's okay. But when you go a bit more rural, it's it's a different game also.
Always.
I met on the show, I met Robbie. So he's from Darwin.
Yeah, Robbie.
So I think the first 30 minutes that we spoke, we couldn't understand each other. And he's so lovely. Like we got there in the end, but I reckon that 30 first 30 minutes it was a challenge because he couldn't get me and I couldn't get him. And I was like, oh my god, like this is not going to be good.
Are you speaking English? And then he'd be going to you, are you speaking English?
It's like, what do you mean? And it's like pointing at shit. And it's like, okay, coffee. Okay, let's just do coffee.
Kappa.
You want a cuppa?
Kappa.
So that was interesting.
You would have done all of your schooling, being that you came here as an adult, like back home.
Pretty much, yeah.
Do you have to pick the subjects? Like, I mean, I'm still mind blown that you're born here and did ESL. Like, that's a whole nother thing.
For 5 years.
The subjects like we would have here in Australia in high school, or even in primary school. Like, how does that work for you back home? And what sort of things were you doing when you say you studied English or?
So
subject-wise?
English is always a subject you get to study when you're in school. But it's funny because you spend 13 years between primary, middle, and in high school, and you only get to learn the verb to be. So I am, you are, he, she is. So throughout 13 years, right? My family, they lived in the U.S. for a bit, and my grandma was really adamant of us, like everyone, like all the grandkids, learning English. So she paid for English tuition, and I went to it was like an institute, so it was called Lusher Institute, and then they were really, really, I would say, proper with grammar and like reading and all this.
Yeah.
So I developed that skill, but my speaking was always not good because you don't get to practice it, too much, right?
Yeah,
so I could watch, and I took the task of watching TV, reading, everything that I could grab, like get my hands on in English. I would do it.
Yep.
So I could practice, right? And my listening was pretty good. I watched a lot of Friends, and you watch Friends with subtitles, and then you kind of start repeating
It's
stuff
interesting
that
you say Friends, because a lot of people that I would know that are international, the way they would learn English is watching Friends with subtitles, because there's so much more tone when you're
Yes.
socially interacting
Yes.
and
Yeah.
communicating with people. And it's like Friends is like the go-to English class with
Yeah.
subtitles.
Yeah.
And if you have a look, it's like if you think about it, it's just a bunch of friends
Yeah,
talking.
talking.
Yeah.
Like so, it's like not real life, but it's the closest you can
That's
get.
exactly
To
right.
conversing
so-
it socially,
Yes.
yeah.
You know, and you every now and then back then you would be saying something and you're like, that's like a literal line from the show, like
Yeah.
some like I don't know if you watch it or
Yeah.
Oh,
so
I'm obsessed with Friends.
Yeah.
Like to this, I watch it every night. Still to this day, I watch it every night.
it's always on rotation.
Yes,
like I've
same.
seen it like I don't know 7-8 times.
At least.
Yeah.
I won a trivia and everything. That's how I'm
See,
obsessed.
I was
gloating there.
Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Seinfeld,
Super sad
you were
about
Friends.
Seinfeld, yeah.
Chandler. Like
yeah.
Oh, that was.
Horrific.
Yeah.
When I heard, I was like, what the fuck?
that was really
Yeah,
sad.
It was so bad. Yeah.
I was reading Selma Hayek's
yes.
tribute piece about
because
the
they did a
movie.
rom com together.
Yeah.
Fools
Yeah,
Rush
yeah.
In. Very good
Very
movie.
good one.
Underrated too. Quite an
Underrated,
underrated movie.
yeah.
Yeah. Very good movie. Fools
But
Rush In.
that got me. When I read what she had written, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I felt it.
Yeah, I read that one as well. That was nice. I'm not a Friends person.
No, you're not.
I watch Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I was a
I love
Seinfeld.
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 I love Seinfeld.
I just watched Seinfeld like a year ago,
Yeah.
and oh my god, Kramer cracks me.
Yeah, he's the best. Yeah.
Like I read that Kramer every time he entered into the apartment, they literally had to shut people down and like tell them, you can't react because it's getting
Yeah.
out of hand. Like
Yeah.
he would get like a standing ovation for
Every time.
Every time he was
Everything.
like
Yeah,
entered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they go on timing. So they would rehearse without a studio audience.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he opened the door and slid in, the crowd would, as he said, would literally
Go
stand.
crazy.
And they'd pre-warn the crowd and go, we'll bring them out at the start and you can cheer for him then. But when he comes in, don't, because it wrecks their timing.
Yeah.
Because they have a
'Cause they have to
timing
wait.
with their lines and all that. And they have to
Yeah.
wait and it throws them all out
It's
of whack.
always that door opening, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
there he is.
One of my favorite ones was when I think it was the clown was Jerry was scared of the guy that was the mental health one, and he was going to kill. Yeah, and he starts locking the door, and you just hear bum. Yeah, and they open the door, and he's like, "When did you start locking the door?" Yeah, literally one of my favorite Kramer parts.
There's a very similar scene like in Friends where like the doorbell rings, but they're all inside.
Yes,
And they're
I
like,
saw that one.
all your friends are
like,
here. Who's
yeah,
at the door?
And Phoebe like counts. She's like counting them all.
Yeah.
And they walk over and open it. I don't know who. I can't remember.
I think
who was
that was a police guy that Phoebe was dating.
No,
She's got, no?
different one. It'll come back to me. Don't worry, we'll come back to
Yeah.
it.
I used to feel like that at your
I
place.
can't tell you because I
Yeah.
have no idea what you're talking about.
We would always be in the backyard, and it
Yeah.
would be like someone would knock on
Yeah.
the gate, and like, but we're all here.
We're here.
Like,
Yeah.
who else is here?
Who
They'd be
else?
like,
Yeah.
oh, there's a new addition.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, get
there's a
another
guest
drink.
star.
So if we go back to Venezuela, childhood memories. Now that you live here, you can't really compare it. I guess you're here as an adult. How's growing up in Venezuela? How's your childhood over there?
Oh, I loved it. Like it was a typical Venezuelan family, big family. So my dad has there are seven with him, so 6 brothers and sisters.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
My mom has 2 older brothers. She's the little princess of the house. So, and of course there was a lot of cousins. So
Yeah.
I think that's very, very traditional South American. Like
Yeah.
you kind of you grow up with your cousins,
Yeah.
almost like your brothers, and because all your uncles they kind of have kids at different rates. So you always have like your cousin groups that they might be like a 1 year or half year age
Yeah.
gap. So
Yep.
it was amazing. Like my dad's a sports anchor. Like both my parents are journalists. So my mom's news journalist. My dad's a sports anchor.
Oh wow.
So
Awesome.
grew up playing all sorts of sports. I didn't excel at any, but I can play every
play
sport
it.
that you
Yeah.
can.
You know all
name.
the- you know all of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can definitely play.
Yeah.
I might not be very good at them,
Yeah.
but I can. Yeah, I get along.
You
with-
participate.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
as the Australians would say, you have a go.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
definitely have a go.
Yeah, nice.
Have a go, mate.
Yeah, nice.
So yeah, it was good. Like I mentioned I have 3 sisters, so I'm the oldest. And yeah, like my parents they got divorced, so there was a lot of like moving around between houses when I was probably like around 10. And yeah, I mean life was good, man. Like I think that time the country definitely wasn't thriving, but you're a kid and your parents
It
they
doesn't
do
matter.
the best they can
Yeah.
do, and you don't really
Don't
you
notice those.
you don't really know what's happening
Yeah.
because you're in a bubble with your family and like
That's
your
right.
friends in school and stuff. So
You're loved. You have a roof over your head. You have food on the table, and you have fun.
That's
That's
the
all
only
you
thing
need
you
as a
need.
kid, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did it feel coming here? Was there anyone else here in Australia? So when you arrived, like, you know, you go from having all the cousins and everyone. What have you got here now?
well, that's a bit. I reckon the biggest adjustment because I come from a house that's there's always people around. Like
Yeah.
I've never been just myself at the house. Like it was my grandma, my dad, my sisters, my cousins, like my uncles.
Yeah.
Someone was there. So coming here, I had my cousin. He was living in Sydney with his wife, and I think I slept with they had like a teeny tiny studio, and they were like so amazing. Like they're the reason I'm in Australia. So they kind of put like an inflatable mattress, and they they let me crash for a couple weeks while I sorted another teeny tiny studio apartment.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
so you have your bedside table is like also your dining table and your that IKEA 1x1 table that
Everything.
everyone has at some
Yep.
point.
Yep.
So that was a big adjustment because it'd be working, studying, getting home, but it was amazing because I had them. So and we were living in Balmain at the time. So and I got the studio apartment was probably like 3 blocks away from them. So
Yep.
it'd be coming from
close.
work, having dinner with them, and then just
Going home.
Go
So
home and
that
sleep.
was cool.
Yeah.
But then the dickheads, they decided to move to Brisbane when I was like 4 weeks in.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
Oh, no.
yeah, I mean, they had just an opportunity to go there, and
Yeah.
it just made total sense.
Yeah.
She had family there, so
Yeah.
it was just the obvious choice for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, they left me behind. So, and I just started work, and so yeah, that was my first. I got here on September, so that would have been the whole September. They moved. They moved mid-October, and or early November, something like that. But that just left me here. My first Christmas.
I was
Yeah.
going to say
Yeah.
Christmas.
You
or
know,
Christmas, it's bonkers back home. Like that's
Yeah, man.
40, 50 people.
Easy.
That's right.
Fireworks, like
whole
whole
lot.
turkeys,
Full
like
party too.
and
to be
here
nice,
I was,
quiet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Christmas Eve, I was like sitting in my bed, like watching Netflix, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh my
Oh,
god,
man.
I need
Yeah.
to make something happen on
Yeah.
New Year's Eve because I can't do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's a
I ended
big,
up at
big
Luna
difference.
Park.
Oh, nice.
go.
Yeah.
Did you have fun?
I loved it.
Yeah, good,
It
good.
was amazing.
Nice.
They had a massive party, and you get to drink at Luna Park, which is
Yeah. Cool.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you do all the rides, and then
Yeah,
you
nice.
see the whole fireworks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was the only thing. Moving to Australia, I've seen the Upper House, and I've seen
Yeah.
literally the first ones to get the New Year was Australia. So that would get broadcasted.
Oh,
at
okay. Yeah.
home.
Yep.
And you watch the fireworks, and to be there watching the Harbour Bridge
In real
light
time.
up, you're like,
That's awesome.
fuck, it's surreal. Like
That's
honestly,
cool.
it's just
I know.
surreal.
I used to see that
Yeah,
on
on
TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm here. That's awesome.
But
And,
that's-
And that's the best spot in Luna Park to see it all. too.
Yeah, you're very close. So after 5 minutes, it's all like smoke. So,
Yeah.
but you've seen the good bit. So it's
yeah.
okay.
But that's a mad way to look at it, man. Because like, it could be a case where you sat there and went, "Oh, my cousins have left me, and I've got no family. I'm here by myself, whatever." And you could have just been moping or sooking or whatever. And in the end, you went, "Fuck this! Let's go to Luna
Yeah.
Park." And you literally talk about it like it's an awesome thing.
Yeah, and-
Rather than moping on, "Oh, I was by myself." You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, well, what some people do though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's valid,
Yeah.
But yeah, I've never been one to complain too much, so
Yeah.
I'm very optimistic. So I kind of always
Love that.
I love to see the good side of things. So, and I think that's what pushes me forward. Some people, like to be like feel sad and then because that gets them out of
Yeah.
So
There's a
it's just how
process.
do you operate really?
That's true. Yeah.
Well, see, I've never done the Luna Park.
Nah. Been here my whole
scene.
life, haven't done it.
I've been here all my life. And
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
Yeah,
but that's
when I
awesome.
moved to Australia, that was one of the things I said. I've lived all my life in Venezuela. I've done a fair bit of the coast, a few states, but there's so many things to see that I never got to see because I'll do it someday.
Yeah.
because
I live
I live
You live
here.
there.
I'll have time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when I moved here, I was like, okay, every opportunity I have to do something, I'm just gonna go for it. And going to the opera house, like every time you bring someone, you take them to the opera house,
Yeah.
and you get to be a tourist that
Yeah.
day again,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you kind of enjoy it.
You do enjoy it. You
Yeah.
really
You
do. Yeah,
Yeah.
you do.
Because you don't do it every day. Because
No.
if you live in the north and then you cross a bridge, you're like, oh, okay, it's there.
Yeah, it's there. Yeah.
But if you take the time to appreciate it, it's actually quite cool. And the
Yeah.
bridge is amazing also.
It is.
Yeah.
I've walked over the bridge once. I had a day with my son when he was a lot younger. Because I used to like walking around the city and everything. So we're like, I just had the idea of like, let's just walk on the bridge.
Yeah.
And that was the first time ever. I haven't done it since then, but it was just awesome. Just walking across, seeing all the cars, seeing what it looks like from that perspective, and having the time just to have a look at everything.
Yeah.
There's people there with padlocks. They've got their little
Oh,
engraving things, and they
yeah,
put the padlocks on there and everything like that.
Yeah,
It was
cool.
nice. Yeah, just going across and coming back, and it was awesome. Yeah, it's a really good experience
Can I ask, is this your first time coming out this way?
down the west.
Out west?
Visiting someone, yes. I've definitely gone through this way to like Barrel and like all that.
Yeah.
Katoomba, I've done, the Blue Mountains. So
But you've never actually stopped out the west.
In the suburbs.
Sorry.
you can say it. I can take it.
No. Sorry, it's shit.
That's not bad.
Compared to it's. But
I mean, you're living in Balmain, right?
Yeah.
So it's like that's
Well,
luxury
he's at-
for us.
no,
But Balmain, that was it's a different lifestyle in there.
Yeah.
It's quite cool, but I've moved more inner west after that, and it's still pretty cool. Like
nice.
I get to live near the river, so
Yep.
nice walks and but it's nothing beats Darling Street and Balmain and all the cafes.
Oh
and
man, the food galore, hey, everywhere.
it's just great, really.
Yeah.
And
All
they live
different
in their own
cultures.
bubble. Like
Yeah.
if you're in Balmain, you don't really need to go anywhere else.
Nah.
Like
Yeah,
you have
nah,
your,
that's right.
the post office, the Woolies. It's like
Yeah. There.
2 blocks away. Coles the other side, so you can't have everything really.
You
Yeah.
don't really need a car almost.
Nope.
You just walk
No.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like here, you have to have a car.
Have to.
You have to. And
Yes.
I mean, I
It's a
work
must.
right opposite Hyde Park on Elizabeth Street,
Mm.
but I literally drive from out here to the basement and back. And
Yeah.
with the level that we're on, I can see the whole city. And I'm like,
It's beautiful.
it's so beautiful, but
It's
I
so
never
beautiful.
have the time to
Yeah.
explore my own city. And I've said it many times, like, I'll go here after work and go to dinner. I'm like, I go straight home again, out of the basement and back out
But
to
you're
the
tired
suburbs.
from
Yeah.
the day.
Yeah.
It's
That's it.
it's
But
a different.
Beautiful. You can pinpoint like different areas, and you like, for instance, you go to where were we before? We went to Waterloo, no, Woolloomooloo.
Woolloomooloo.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Woolloomooloo.
And
Yep.
just going out there, I hadn't been out there since I was a kid, and how different it is. And I'm like, from my building, I can see it. I'm like, why don't I just walk through the park and go there more often? It's too
And
hard.
Woolloomooloo, Potts Point area, and Surrey Hills, I feel like for me, it's all where all the cool restaurants are,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
basing
Beautiful.
themselves
Yeah.
now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's either Surrey Hills or Potts Point.
Yeah.
And the food's good. Like it's expensive, but it's like an experience night
Yeah.
that you can have, and,
Yeah.
and
You're not
it's-
doing it
it's
every
worth
day.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
do it once in a blue moon. But you touched on it before, Antonio, where you said, like with Venezuela, you didn't really travel because you're like, you take it for granted. We all do it. We all do it. Every single one of us do it. Like my wife and I, we actually talked about it last year. We went, hey, instead of going away, because we love going to the beach, we love going away, why don't we just do like 4 or 5 days where we stay in the city? We actually go to the city.
Staycation.
Yeah,
Kind of.
You know,
Yeah.
it's still away. There's still a swimming pool. Where our kids love to swim, but they love a swimming pool. You're one street away from Darling Harbour that has everything: cafes, restaurants, you name it. And it doesn't. The city never sleeps. Like it doesn't stop.
Yep.
So we could have just gone for a week there. But when we suggested it, we thought, oh, that's weird. And then we talked to other people like, oh, that's weird. But then you think about it and go, well, it's not weird. We're actually exploring one of the best cities in the world.
Yeah.
And we haven't done it. And every time you mention it, people go, oh, when you think of going away, you think of going up the coast or down the coast
Yeah.
or up to Queensland or Bali or Thailand. No one thinks to just go, oh, I'm just going to go to the city for 3 nights and 4 days
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
that's
just
true.
explore it.
And there's
As
so
a
many
holiday.
hidden places in
Oh,
the city that there's this place. It's like it's called AP Bakery. That's on a rooftop of a building that that's the kind of place you don't walk by and
Nah.
like
Nah, yeah.
you
Yeah.
kind of
Oh,
need
we'll
to
give
like
it a go.
hear about
Yeah.
it, and you're like, and
Yeah.
if you're in the city and you have the time to explore, because let's face it, you're probably just getting there 2-3 minutes before 9
Yeah.
before you can do
Literally
and
going from
Anything else?
A to B, just
And that's
going
it.
there, and you're just now I'm going to get home and do this. I got to go do that. I got to do that, and then I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
We do it often. Like we'll go in and just check out restaurants because I'm like, if I'm going to go, I want to have a good wine and
Yeah.
not have to worry about the 40-minute commute back.
Yep.
So we will do it purposely with a restaurant list of the places we want to
Yeah,
do.
nice.
But like this was prior to me working in the city, and now that I'm actually situated there, Monday to Friday, I've done shit. and I'm like, I could just do it without needing to get accommodation and just be like, after work, I'm going to try this restaurant, and the list is still quite big.
keeps growing and you're not ticking any.
When I worked in North Sydney, I actually made an effort to be like, okay, at lunchtime, I want to get out of the office and I'm going to go for a walk. And there's not much in North Sydney, right? But walking around just to find different areas to eat, I took the time. So there's a lot of different places. I'm like, oh, it actually looks really nice. I'm going to go visit that place next time. I'm going to go see that place. So I'm not saying I know all of North Sydney, but there's certain areas where I was like, I had a really good meal there. Not so good there, but kind of familiarize myself a little bit. But you have to put that time aside to actually do that. Or else you just, like you said, Crystal, you go to work, you go home, and then that's it.
And probably
know?
the only way to properly do it is walking, because if you're driving, or I also ride a motorcycle, so you're focusing on the road. You can't be looking
miss
at
the good stuff.
So if you spend the time just walking and like getting just lost in the city, and that's how you find stuff.
Yeah.
That's the way I like to do tourism. Like I went to Barcelona in 2018, and I love that my friends, they were working and they just took like a couple days, and then there was a wedding, so we did have a few days, but I felt really good just doing stuff on my own. Like had up Google Maps. I had a sim, and I just left the house at 7 a.m. and I was there at 8 p.m. when they were getting from work, and I went to all these. I got lost a fuck ton. Yeah. But I was like, oh, I ate
Part of
these.
it.
Yeah.
That's an
And
experience.
it's how you get to, know the place. So it was super cool.
I feel like doing that for Seb and just dropping him in the middle of Sydney. He can Google map it and just find the microbreweries, the food, all of that. You would love it.
And he'll just find the
You've
nearest pub.
always, not liked the city.
No,
So
I
I'm
hate
like,
the city.
Yeah.
I hate the city, but I don't like
I just
crowds.
want to drop him.
But see, the city isn't as big. Because of COVID, really, the city's not crowds anymore. Because pre-COVID, no matter when, you couldn't go to the city without a crowd. Well, now it's not that bad. It's not so full
Bit
on.
more balanced now.
Yeah, it is. But like I'm a creature of habit. So yeah, as Doug said, if Chris, you drop me in the middle of the city and I'll be like, pub, straight in there, Schooner Avenue, give me a menu, steak.
Then he won't leave.
Yeah, then I won't leave. Yeah.
That
Another
one
beer.
pub. Yeah, that's
You
it.
could do a pub crawl in the city. And
Yes. Done that.
That's a
Always
way
fun.
to
I've always
get to know
thought
the
like
city.
just make it more of a like gamification for you and be like there is a challenge or a scavenger
Oh,
hunt
yeah,
to
I'll
make
do
him
that.
leave
Yeah.
the pub
I'll do that. Yeah.
and go to the different places.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
And the
ones.
reward is another beer at the next one.
There's a lot of ones like now that obviously we've got the internet and you got Instagram and people are posting different locations.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen so many
You find the nooks, eh?
interesting little nooks, little secret areas where restaurants and bars, and you would never ever find that. Like you were saying, unless you walk around, you won't find these places. So there's a secret bar that you have to walk into this door. You wouldn't even know. There's no sign. There's no nothing. But it's a really nice, swanky little bar.
Yeah.
You can go have a nice drink.
Same with TikTok. My friends, they have TikTok basically only for the reason of getting new places, because people start suggesting, and you get to see, they uploaded this like little video reel of like some amazing rooftop bar, and that's how they learn about new places. And
I think that's where most of my like listers come from. But one of the good ones that we found, and I'm going to probably plug a different TV show, but Chef's Night Out was one that they had in Australia, and my husband just fully crushed on a local Australian chef, and so we just followed his career, and he opened a place called Acme, and it was like a fusion place, and now he's above Ace Hotel on the bar there, and we actually ran into him after watching that episode multiple times to get a restaurant list. Fangirl. He was like, oh, Madge. I was like, relax. And so now he's just like been on that whole journey. It's an international one and has this list. I'm like, we haven't even got through Sydney yet. We haven't even got through Sydney. And he's talking about Chicago and, going to Barcelona and all these things. Like, can we get through the Sydney list first? Because there is so many restaurants.
Yeah.
And you're right, with COVID, everybody slowly came out of the city. But I would travel for food, whereas, in your 20s, you'd travel to line up in the best club. And it's like, it's a whole different culture now, even for the younger generation in their 20s are no longer lining up for the best club. They're looking for the best food. And it would be that TikTok world. of that.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I can almost guarantee you, like a social experiment, grab 2 influencers, just 2 that are relatively famous, and then 20 more that were average at best with a couple of hundred followers at whatever. I'm going to do this bullshit food truck. This food tastes like shit, but all of you say it's good, and I guarantee you it'll be packed, and all of the people thereafter will go, oh, this was really good because those influencers did.
Yeah.
And there'll be a handful that will go, oh, this was shit.
Funny you say that. They did, these guys, they did an experiment in the UK, and they managed to place fake restaurant. Didn't even exist.
Yeah.
They were taking bookings.
Yeah.
Number 1 on TripAdvisor, and it was ranked number 1 in London.
Yeah.
And the restaurant didn't even exist. So they created a fake thing. They were taking reservations. It got to a point where they decided that they were actually going to do it, and they set up a few tables. They blindfold people, but people was reviewing the place because let's say you made a booking for 6 months, then a week before they would call you in and say, look, we can't make that reservation. We need to book you in for another 6 months.
Artificial hype. Yeah.
And it was like crazy up to a point that this guy also managed to get invited to a big like fashion show with blue jeans that he bought in like Morocco or like and he's built a career of like doing this kind of stuff to like expose how how reviews kind of like how you can influence the
so
people.
crazy. Like I always make a joke, like I don't like taking pictures when I travel. It's usually like my feet with like wherever I am. And recently went to Tasmania and I added the hashtag feet pic, and my reels doubled in views. And it wasn't anything. It was like we went hiking and saw waterfalls. So it's not like, an
actual
OnlyFans
feet
movie.
pic.
Yeah.
Well, but see,
Only feet, so
But you can easily manipulate, that
man.
artificial kind of influence
100%.
to something.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And the easiest way to do it is blokes. Blokes are dumb. Men are dumb.
we're
Maybe that's
basic.
why the
We're very
We're
basic.
basic, so
like some sort of sex, food, and if you're into it, alcohol. That's it.
Yeah, true.
One, both, or 3. Yep, and
Look,
you're done.
my husband's currently watching Plans Landing, so none of those categories suit him.
What's that?
And with a beer.
Yeah, with a beer.
With a beer. And eating something. What is it? There you go. That's 2. Planes landing.
He watches Planes Land
Oh,
for like
Planes Land.
hours.
I thought it was actually a show or
Oh,
something.
yeah, same. I was like, I haven't
just
heard
like
of it.
random like clips of like
Planes landing. Yeah. But
okay.
but he's got food and alcohol.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Not
so
always.
that's 2 out of 3.
Not always, but yeah.
Yeah, done. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny, man.
Power of influence now.
Can we go back to Venezuela now that you've been here for 6 years?
8 years.
8 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2015, 8 years.
How do you compare Venezuela and Australia? Can you compare the two? Are they completely different?
Oh, I think there are a lot of similarities. I think, I guess depending on, who you'd ask. In the family, when I grew up, you get to, be with your family and your friends. And I can see that here from people that, they've lived the whole life here. So I think the way people get together, it's very similar. Weddings are completely different.
Oh, really? Yeah.
We just party. Like weddings back home, it's, church 7, reception by 9, and then you get home shit-faced at 6 a.m. in the morning. So that's a, standard wedding, in Venezuelan, terms.
Yeah.
And it was funny because my good friends, they just got married, 3 weeks ago? And they kick us out of the, the venue at like 11:30.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, we're just warming up.
Weddings always finish so early here. Absolutely do.
And it's not, the sit down dinner and the speeches and all that. It's literally you get there and it's like it might be a band or just anything really. It's just
The
full-blown
singing and
party.
dancing just continues. Yeah. I always find that odd with weddings. It's like you are half lit and it's like, oh, we're finishing the whole celebration now. It's 10 o'clock.
It's definitely, yeah.
I've noticed a new trend with weddings here in Australia on socials is that once they finish the reception, a lot of the smaller groups are going to karaoke bars and carrying on.
Kicking on.
It kicks on till late. There's still food and they're singing. And I've noticed about 5 bridal parties in the last 6 months. And it's like
Very interesting.
doing that now. I was like, oh, that's a new trend.
Way too much emphasis on all the formalities and not enough on the party. So our wedding, we had it in 2013, and we had the room for 5 hours, and they went, that includes everyone settling in. I was like, no, we don't want that. So we hired it for another hour, so half an hour each end, so 6 hours all up. So there was the canapes, then the first 30 minutes to get everybody settled. And they were all being served their entrees as we did our entry. We did the speeches during the mains, whatever, and then we had 3.5 hours solid of party dancing.
Yeah.
And mate, we went nuts. Everyone, and it was a Sunday. We only did the Sunday because it was the same day as when we started dating, so 3rd of February.
Okay.
So that's why we picked the Sunday.
Okay.
Gave everyone notice. But yeah, it was party. But I've been to some weddings where the dancing is like 45 minutes, and you're like, I've been sitting here for 4 hours or 3.5 hours. And there's been no music whatsoever. And all of a sudden you start to go, yeah, and then, bang, party's over. You're like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
No, for us, it's literally,
Party.
7 hours of partying, really. And it's depending on, where in South America you're from. I think in Colombia, they do the music is by blocks. So you have, merengue for 30 minutes, then salsa dancing, then they do reggaeton, and then... But us in Venezuela, it's like 2 songs, and they keep you,
Moving.
keep you moving and changing and switching and switching, and it's completely different. But I don't know, I don't think there's a massive difference really. It's culturally we're we were colonized by the Spaniards, so I think we do have a little bit of that chaotic Latino influence from them, so it's you can definitely see how proper people are, and or I don't know, it's the way they behave. So we're definitely more warm and touchy and all over. That was a bit of a shock actually when I came here, because when you meet people back home, you're you do a peck on the cheek with girls,
at the very
and
least.
And handshakes and hugs and stuff, and here you kind of don't know. You're like,
It's like a
hand, but
handshake.
then it's like it's so awkward. But then you get the hang of it, and you're like, look, I'm Latino, and then you give him a hug, and that's it. Like, this is how I say hi. So
I've had
you
so
gotta pull your
many
pants
of
up and
those
Sorry. Oh, my bad.
I've had so many awkward hellos, and just recently my husband and I were
You are
helping.
awkward, but
Because
You're
I'm
awkward with
not
affection.
naturally affectionate. But we went to my general manager's place to pick something up, and he's Australian, Northern Beaches man, and shaking everyone's hand, and it got to me, and I'm familiar with him, I work with him, and we kind of were like, does he go in for a kiss? And I just gave him a fist bump. I just was awkward.
Look, but there's definitely a worse one where you do the fist bump and then someone's
and then go
like,
and grab,
Dude, I've
So bad.
done that.
We've done it many
Oh
times.
man,
Could you go to this stage where you're okay, I don't know.
I always get messed up with these guys where it's like a double kiss if I see their mums and their family, and I get so close to the lips because I'm like, oh, they're going for a second one. I
know.
think I just pecked your dad.
It really depends. It depends on the people. I found it. So my wife's brother's partner, she's half Chinese and half Portuguese.
Okay.
So when I say hello to her mum, she's Portuguese. It's always the double.
Yeah.
It's always the
European,
double.
yeah.
Right. So, and there's times where I've forgotten. I'm just once, and then she's waiting for the other one. I'm like, oh, sorry. Yeah.
So don't let me hanging.
Was that the other cheek's not warm?
But then sometimes it's she only gives me the one, or she's probably remembered back before when I only go for one. So she does.
You both over.
I do the opposite, right?
It might
and I
be
go for the next one, and she's like, oh, yeah, okay. But you still get confused regardless.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've noticed lately that in Australia it's become, maybe because the people I hang around now, but reciprocate pretty well. I haven't found anyone to be a bit standoffish so far.
Yeah.
I think it's slowly starting to become norm.
I think you're right. I think, when I first moved, but I think it's more that you're self-conscious about it and you don't know how to, kind of approach the whole saying hi.
Especially in this day and age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You need to be very careful.
Very careful, yeah. It's like,
I was just trying to think now, how did I greet you when you got here? I was like, did I go in for a kiss or a handshake? I don't even know. I think I just stood there and put my hand down.
Well, you were sitting. I think that was why. Yeah.
I am the most awkward greeter with anybody. And the farewells, I do the whole like big wave rather than go around to like hug people like, bye. Or I even salute. I'm pretty sure I'm like, I'm ghosting. I'm getting out of here.
But see, again, we guys are, different. We do the up, or the down.
Oh, yes,
and that's about it.
Yeah.
Especially, we don't do big waves or anything. You're like, yep, how's it going? Or, yep, I acknowledge you, and that's it.
Actually, that reminds me, I meant to always ask is like, how would your parents like summons you? And with Filipinos, they use their lips, or when they're telling you to do something, they don't point with their hands. They use their lips.
Yeah, I think that's, that probably comes from like Spain.
Has to come from because my parents
because
are the
we
same.
have
Yeah.
the same.
And I'm like, where are you pointing with those lips? Like, what am I meant to do?
They don't tell you. They just go that. Point with the lips, and you're like, oh, I know what you mean, but
or they trail off.
yeah.
Bring me or try me that. What?
Oh, man.
There!
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
You get yelled at. Yeah.
My dad used to do the whole, the thing with the thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no idea. Like, what are we doing
100%.
here?
Yeah. Now, my mum, at the moment, she calls me by my brother's name.
I've got 4 brothers. You go through the whole list before they get to
So
you.
she's always called me Sam. And then she's like, oh. And then she calls me by my son's name. She's like, what's your name again? Like, and she does that to my sister now. I think she's doing that to my sister, calling her my daughter.
Yeah.
And then my brother is always me. So she's getting us all confused.
Yeah.
It's happened for so long now. So I don't even know who she's talking about. And I think my wife's starting to do that. Yeah.
I was going to say, I've been calling my son my brother's name.
Yeah.
And I go through names. So I
it
don't
happens.
know what it is. It's just a time.
With the names, you back home, you're in trouble or you're in the shit if they call you by your name because everything it's pet names back home. So
Yeah.
my mom's never called me Antonio in her life, other than when she's cracking the shit or like I did something wrong.
Yeah.
And if she says first name and middle name,
man,
just move. Yeah,
Forget it.
like
Get out
get
of
the
the
car
way.
and
You're
get out
done.
of the way because it's not going to be fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just curl up in a ball and hope for the best. Like when a brown bear's attacking, they say just curl up and play dead.
Play dead.
Just play
Play
dead,
dead.
man. Just play dead because you're dead.
Yeah. You got it.
But see, so what I want to know, we're going a little bit off script here. How Australian are you? So you've been here 8 years now. You communicate really well. So obviously the English throughout and the Americanized English and whatnot. You've obviously understand a lot of Australian lingo now. You are Australian. But what can you say is the most Australian or Aussie thing you've done so far? Like going to the cricket, going to the footy.
Well, right. So I got my ceremony for my citizenship, and the first, order of business was literally going to Bunnings and eating, sausage sizzles. And I got my Bunnings hat. And,
Yes.
Nice.
I feel I was pretty chill with it. So I was like,
I'm set. Yeah.
So that
How good is the sausage sizzle?
Yeah.
it's an acquired taste. But now, same as Vegemite, which my dickhead cousin told me it was like Nutella. So I went like fucking in, and I almost like died. Yeah.
Hang on. You've got to do that. That is an Australian tradition. Like you have to pass that on.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
okay.
when you have family visit, you got to say, "Have you tried this?" And when they say
like-
no, you got to go, "Oh man, it's better
like
than
Nutella."
Nutella."
Look, I've taken
And-
on the mission with
and film
Tim
it.
Tams.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I've
okay.
been doing a Tim Tam Slam all over the world. Like
Yeah,
I've been,
of course.
I went to
Yeah.
Barcelona.
Yeah.
I brought 5 different types
Yeah.
of Tim Tams, made
Ah,
everyone do
yeah.
a Tim Tam
Yep.
Slam.
Yep.
And it was just so amazing to see people's faces because like they look at this biscuit and they're like, okay, but I make them have one, and then the second one is a Tim Tam Slam.
Yep.
And when they just don't think the liquid's gonna come through.
True, yeah, like a straw,
gushing
yeah.
from the
they're
the biscuit.
amazed.
And when they do, you can see their eyes lighting up, and we're like, "What the fuck? This is so good." But yeah, it's I don't know. Like I think I've gotten I enjoy meat pies, which I never thought I would.
Was that the first time you tried a meat pie? Was it here?
Yeah, pretty much.
You've never had it. They don't have it in Venezuela.
No, it's not a thing back
nothing like
home.
that.
Yeah. And
I
sausage
can't
rolls.
imagine a world without meat pies.
Well,
love
it's
meat
kind
pies.
of like
Yeah.
it's part of the culture,
Yeah.
right? So for us, it's different. We have a lot of Portuguese and French influence in terms of bakery. So we have a lot of croissants and different like ham, like brioche kind of breads filled with ham and cheese and all sorts of stuff. It's called cachito. It's like the translation. It's like a little horn brioche dough. So it's like an enriched, sweet, buttery dough that's laid very thinly, and then you wrap ham in it and then bake it. And
That
it's
sounds amazing.
It's like, I don't know. It's wrapped. It's like it looks like a croissant, but it's so good.
I will press like a brioche, like hot dog roll
Yep.
with ham and press it into a pan.
It would, and taste wise would be similar.
Similar.
Yeah.
So the sweet and salty.
Sweet and salty, it's so good.
Yeah.
And that would be, I think, the equivalent for us for the sausage rolls. And I think the meat pies were actually say empanadas, so deep fried
Yeah, I'd
empanadas.
say that would be
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
the closest.
So
yeah.
that would be, also on the go.
Yeah.
There's always, a lady that has, been and a different array of flavors, pulled beef, chicken, cheese, chorizo,
Oh, wow, yeah,
like
okay.
whatever you want, it's there. So
Yeah.
and you grab, this like super greasy paper bag that's like dripping oil, and just like breakfast of champions.
If you had had a challenge to cook, I guess your understanding of an Aussie meal, like what would you put
that's
all
a good
together
one.
for that? Like if you go, this is what I would think
Yep.
an Australian meal would be, and that was your challenge.
Okay, so entree, main, and dessert.
Yep.
Go
Yeah,
for
let's
it.
do
Yeah.
that.
Okay. I think, well, you do have a very big influence from Asian countries. So
Yes.
I think prawn toast, it's like, it's not Australian, but it almost feels Australian because
Yep.
Yeah, I think
everyone.
it's very westernized.
Yeah. So I reckon I'd start with some sort of prawn toast. Maybe include some Vegemite in the prawn, because
Oh,
that
that's
umami
interesting.
saltiness,
Yes.
like
Yeah,
it would
yeah.
like tie it also to Australia. Maine, chicken parmy. Like it'd have to be some sort of rendition of a chicken parmy.
Yum.
Yeah.
Which is my lunch of choice if I'm in a pub. Like
Yes.
I go
Yes.
chicken parmy or steak every time.
Yes.
And dessert has to be, and sorry about any New Zealand listeners, it's pavlova.
Pavlova.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Just feels Australia.
Yeah.
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 It does.
I got them mixed up in my first episode with these guys, and I was like, yes, this is Australia. I was like, it's from New Zealand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
100%
I
it is.
did.
Same as Lamingtons, and I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought they
Lamingtons,
were
yeah.
Australian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We claim so Farlap, the best racehorse ever, New Zealand. Sam Neill, Kiwi. Russell Crowe, Kiwi.
Kiwi.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So New Zealand, yeah. So, but going on things that are Australian but not Australian.
Yeah.
Nice little segue here. Have you ever tried one of these?
I have. So
No, we were trying to surprise you with the shitness. I mean, the awesomeness.
I quite enjoyed it.
and I got a glimpse when you took it out of the fridge
Yeah.
because
And
my
you-
mom.
No.
So when I moved to Australia and the first time I went to visit my mom in
Yeah.
the US, she had this like huge can of Forsters, and she's
Okay.
like, "Oh, I got you Australian beer," and I was like,
Yeah,
"Mom,
yeah.
that's that's
Not Australian.
Like I've never
Pretty
had."
sure like Australians consume Corona more than
You,
any other.
you literally, you cannot. I've never seen that. It's very difficult to find. Like Doug, you had
Yeah.
to research it online.
Yeah, they actually had to be ordered online. I couldn't get it.
You had to order it
bottle
into
anywhere.
Australia.
Same as Australian Gold. I didn't know.
Australian
Like
Just ship it all overseas.
it's the sunscreen or the tanning lotion. It's US, but it's called Australian Gold.
Oh, really? I didn't even know.
There
And
you
it's
go.
very good. It's but that's how you get you get it back home, but you never actually watch the label. It says made in the US, but it's named Australian
That
Gold.
was Australian
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. All
Interesting.
right. So well, then we won't give you. You've had it now. You've.
Yeah, I'll pass.
All right.
He's not going to put himself through it all over
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. Exactly.
I had to drink that one. Like my mom had, and I think it was like a massive can. I think it was
Oh,
like a
they-
liter
the
can
big
or something.
half-liter ones. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
that's everything in the US, right? Everything's massive.
Yeah.
Was it the US that did the whole Ugg boot thing? Was that a US
Yeah, they stole
company?
it off us. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So the
No
original
way.
Ugg can't even be called the Ugg boot, right? I think
I
that's
think
the
they still
whole
said
thing.
it.
Yeah.
They still said it like this anyway. You can get Uggs, but it's got to be. They get kickbacks on it. That's the
No,
thing.
I think they actually blocked them from using it altogether from memory.
So you can't get any Uggs at all.
No, you can buy
You
them,
can
but
buy
I
them,
think they
but
can't
the Australian
call,
company can't call them that
Yeah.
because
Ah, okay.
the Americans copyrighted it.
What are they going to call them? Sheep feet? I don't know.
Sheep feet.
Sheep feet.